Damn, so Shonen Jump is about to cancel another one? Really? Like, yo, we just started the year. What's going on here? We got some good and bad and all around just kind of crazy news for solo leveling. Bleach fans, I got an update for you. Boruto fans are gonna be very happy, to say the least, with this latest news, as well as Jujutsu Kaisen fans. And we got so much more to talk about, so without further ado, let's jump into another exciting episode of Fornever News! The only news source that provides anything and everything anime and manga related, and we don't bore you, we get into it. Let's do it!
You don't even know yourself, but you care about others. Why don't you find out yourself who you are? Why don't you find out yourself who you are? Why don't you find out yourself who you are?
Before we continue, hit that subscribe button and that bell so you get notified on anything and everything in the world of anime and manga. Buttons are right there. Hit them. Okay, people, so even though the year has just begun, it seems as though Shonen Jump is already gearing to end another series in the magazine, and I'm kind of like, sheesh, really? Like, we just getting started in the year. What's going on here? Now, in case you haven't heard about this author, been rooting for this author for a while now, and definitely was a little bit shocked to hear this, but seems as though the author known as Yuki Kawaguchi's latest series, Oteru of the Flame, is going to be ending here soon. Or at the very least, the writing is on the wall that this series is about to come to a close. And it's a bit disappointing because this series hasn't been going on all that long, and yet it seems as though it's probably going to be ending. And maybe you're not familiar with this series, but this author has already had a series in Shonen Jump a while back called The Hunters Guild Red Hood. And honestly, I was pretty disappointed when that series ended too, because that one was really good. Read the whole thing. This one may have checked out a chapter or two, something in that ballpark. But regardless of what, whenever I see an author with talent, an author that really can create something great, I'm always rooting to see this author win. So hearing this one, I'm a little bit like, yo, wow, why? Let's read to get more info. Shonen Jump likely ready to cancel its first major series in 2026. It's the start of the new year for Shueisha's weekly Shonen Jump magazine, and it already seems like there's another major series heading for cancellation. Shonen Jump had one of its most transitional years in 2025, as 13 major franchises ended with the weekly magazine over the course of it. There were a few series that were able to reach their natural ends, but ultimately there were roughly 10 major cancellations that saw many creators end their series before they ever really had a chance. And it seems like the first cancellation of 2026 is at hand too. There are a few series in 2025 that had fans been suspecting they were going to be canceled in the near future, but that's starting to take shape with Yuki Kawaguchi's Oteru of the Flame. It's a shame because this creator already had his series canceled with the magazine with under 20 chapters, and this newest effort is likely going to end within the next few chapters as well, with its final battle already beginning with chapter 33. Oteru of the Flame ended 2025 with the debut of the King of the Ice Kingdom, one of the big icons that Oteru and the others had been journeying towards through the series thus far. Oteru himself had reached a new level of understanding with the Flame Spirit, and the two had united their power into a new final form. But with chapter 33 of the series released this past week, it's now clearer than ever that the series is coming to an end, as all of the spirits and their respective warriors have been gathered into a single place much sooner than fans might have guessed. If Oteru of the Flame is already starting its final battle, the axe is likely going to hit within the next 1 or 2 chapters. We're either going to get a rush through finale with a final couple of pages to help send it off, or enough room to end the final battle and then have a final chapter to end the story. Either situation has got to be tough for Yuki Kawaguchi themselves, as they've been through this situation before with the cancellation of the Hunters Guild Red Hood. Though Oteru is a totally different kind of series than the previous effort and managed to make it beyond 20 chapters, it just seems never really caught fire with Shonen Jump fans. It has a unique kind of power system, cool ideas, and great art, and if the cancellation does come, hopefully Kawaguchi doesn't get discouraged and tries again with something new someday. And there's a few different reasons why things like this happen, one of which we're in an era and an age of this point where, yeah, if your series ain't jumping off the pages in popularity and fans are screaming about it within the first handful of chapters, usually the powers that be, the higher up, be like, well, maybe it's not connecting. At least they gave this one a bit more than Yuki's previous effort with, you know, now it's currently at like 33 chapters. But still, nonetheless, it's kind of crazy that, like, it would be nice for this author, and in particular for a lot of authors, to be able to get at least a full year serialization before getting canceled off. Now, it'd be a little bit different if the series was like, you know, causing some sort of problems or something like that, but for the most part, it just seems like it's a decent series by an author that has really been giving it their all, because to make it into this magazine twice is no easy or small feat, to say say the least. Like, it takes a lot of work to get into Weekly Shonen Jump, clearly. And I'm sure Kawaguchi is going to land on their feet in one way or another and get something else going at some given point if they were able to do it again. Because, I mean, I've covered it before, but like, for example, the author of the 7 Deadly Sins, they had a lot of issues getting up and running and getting a hit manga series, and went through years of putting out stuff until they finally got one with the 7 Deadly Sins. So I guess the message in all of this is to say that, yeah, despite the fact that sometimes things might be disappointing at first, don't give up. Legitimately, you never know when that next big break is going to happen in whatever it is, especially if you're genuinely passionate about something, especially if you genuinely think that, like, yo, this is what I want to do with myself, then give it your all. But at the same time, I want to actually balance that out by saying that, yo, if you feel like there's something that's pulling you in a different direction, maybe Yuki Kawaguchi has done all that they wanted with manga and feels like they want to go a different route, then I'm fine with that too. Like, not to get too quote-unquote deep with it, shall I say, but like, honestly, you get more or less 100 years in this world, you know what I'm saying? Do what you want with your life, do the best that you possibly can, follow your passions, follow your dreams and goals, and see where it takes you. But once again, I just want to say big shout outs to Yuki Kawaguchi, and we're rooting for you over here, fam. Moving forward, Solo Leveling fans, I told you I got a whole wide variety of news regarding, well, there's stuff about the live action series. There's a very disappointing update on the web comic that is currently ongoing, the webtoon, because in case you don't know, Solo Leveling has a sequel spin-off series that's been going on for a while now. And yeah, I guess let's get to the quote-unquote bad news first and then end off with the good news. Because one of the first updates we got regarding the webtoon that was worrisome was that the second season of the webtoon Solo Leveling Ragnarok had ended with chapter 68. There were 21 chapters and the series was now on hiatus. So a lot of fans, when we got this update, were like, really? Like 21 chapters? Like, what's going on here? And then we got this update that apparently the Solo Leveling Ragnarok series was going on indefinite hiatus due to the artist Jin serving his mandatory military service in South Korea, and apparently that was supposed to last for like 1.5 years, so that was just like extremely disappointing. However, there is a silver lining here, because despite the fact that Solo Leveling Ragnarok's lead artist Jin was leaving the project, it was revealed in a message at the end of the chapter, and the reason of course was because the artist was drafted into the military. A new illustrator has already been found, and it will be one of Dubu's disciples, so essentially they're already getting somebody else to get back on the ball game to keep this ship going. And well, here's what the artist from Solo Leveling Ragnarok had to say before he left. Hello dear readers, I'm the artist Jin. Even before I was entrusted with Solo Leveling, I had been an avid fan of his work throughout my school years. I started drawing after seeing artist Jang Song-rock's artwork and direction, and that influence has remained the foundation of my work till this day. After graduating high school, I continued taking part in contests, and then through an unexpected opportunity, I was chosen and given the honor of working on Solo Leveling's side stories. I still remember very clearly how I felt when I first heard the news. About 4 years have passed since then, and through side stories and Solo Leveling Ragnarok, I was able to gain many experiences, both as an author and as a person. I had many shortcomings and there were difficult moments as well, but I believe that is exactly what made the time so valuable. As of today, I am wrapping up all work related to this title and will be stepping away from my position for a while. Due to personal circumstances, military service, I will be away temporarily, but I believe that this is not the end. It is another period of preparation. I also want to send my heartfelt support to the artist who will continue the series, another disciple of artist Jang Song-rock. Given the weight and expectations that come along with a work like Solo Leveling, it will not be an easy role, but I believe you will surely expand this world even further in your own unique colors. I hope readers will also stay with the series with warm and kind eyes. To everyone who worked together with me, and above all to the readers who loved and supported this work, I offer my sincere thanks. Each and every one of your reactions was a great source of strength for me. Going forward, I will keep this experience close to my heart and continue striving so that I can show you artwork I won't be ashamed of. Thank you truly for everything. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of got emotional even reading that, because you could tell that this means a lot to homie, and him having to step away for this time is a very tough situation. So massive salute to homie for what he's done. Massive salute to the people that are continuing on this project. Good luck to whoever it is that's going to be picking up the art aspect of this series. And yeah, I guess it was kind of a balanced thing of like, it's bad news that they're losing the current artist, but it's good news that the story and, you know, the show must go on, so to speak, and it will. Then we got a whole bunch of other news, so I'm just gonna give it to you as follows. Solo Leveling producer, I'm imagining for the anime 2026 message to fans. Something truly exciting might happen for Solo Leveling fans this year. I'm sorry, but please wait just a little longer. Maybe we might get a trailer or a teaser or something for the Solo Leveling movie, because realistically we don't know when and how long that film is going to take to come out. Obviously we would love to get it this year, but if it doesn't happen, Solo Leveling is a very beautiful piece of art, and it takes probably a long time to make this thing. So however long it takes, we know know when it does come is going to be massively, insanely epic of a story, and we're all here for it. Then we got updates for the Solo Leveling live action, which this is something that I'm really interested in because we also got a mixed bag of good and bad news in this world as well. Because, well, for starters, Solo Leveling's Netflix live action adaptation will feature heavy romance between Song Jin-woo, of course the main character, and Cha Ha-in, his, well, I don't want to spoil it, but if you're watching the anime or if you read the webtoon or if you've seen the spoiler, then you know what type of relationship they build throughout the story, according to the series' director. Now, that's a good and a bad thing because, well, for starters, if you've seen the Solo Leveling anime at the very least, then you know that Cha Ha-in doesn't even, barely showcase in season 1, and it's not until season 2 that she actually really started to show up and become a big deal. So if they're already talking about this, either they've been filming a crazy amount and they're way ahead, or they've written way ahead, or the Solo Leveling live action Netflix is about to take incredibly huge liberties in terms of what they do, which of course everyone's first instinct is that, oh my god, it's going to be bad, but it could be good. I don't want to write it out just yet. You never know what could happen. Netflix also claims that the Solo Leveling live action adaptation will feature top tier global visual effects team, setting a new standard for live action adaptations, meaning they're going to put in the works because they understand very clearly that Solo Leveling is one of the most popular anime right now. Look at what it did at the Crunchyroll Awards just recently. People love Solo Leveling. Make sure you give it its just due. But here's where the quote-unquote troubling aspect begins, because apparently the live action Solo Leveling series will reportedly begin filming in April 2026, but will have 7 episodes. And yeah, it's going to stream on Netflix, but 7 episodes. You see, Solo Leveling has become one of the biggest global sensations in the entertainment industry ever since the manhwa was released. Its popularity, however, bloomed to an entirely different level when the anime debuted, with the second season only escalating that popularity on an even larger scale. While fans await updates on the next installment of the anime, with recent developments suggesting that news could arrive at any time, there is another project currently in production that fans never expected. A few months after the second season of the anime came to an end last year, Netflix announced a live-action adaptation of the series. Momentum for the live-action project has continued to grow with reveal of its cast, and this momentum has not slowed as the latest information has seemingly confirmed both the episode count for this ambitious project and when filming might begin. However, according to a job listing on the Korean forum filmmakers community, the cast for additional characters set to appear in the live action have been confirmed, along with an episode count of 7 and the filming for it beginning in April. While it has not been confirmed what content will be covered within these 7 episodes, the limited episode count is a concern for now. You see, since K-dramas typically run longer, usually around 12 to 16 episodes, this update is concerning if Netflix plans to wrap the project in just 7 episodes. While Solo Leveling narrative is not hundreds of chapters long, it still spans roughly 200 chapters. Condensing that many chapters, each packed with significant events, would undoubtedly hurt the live action project. That said, it is possible Netflix is planning to adapt the series across multiple seasons, which more than likely it will. But again, the thing about it is, if they're already talking about heavy romance with Cha Ha-in with 7 episodes, it looks like they're going to be within 7 episodes crossing into season 2 territory. Kinda crazy. Because from this perspective, another major concern stems that rumors of the live action being romance emphasized, it will require notable changes to the original narrative. This shift could potentially turn the project into a fantasy romance series with occasional action elements rather than the action heavy story it is meant to be, and the small episode count only added fuel to this approach. This could mean that the live action will be a short, super fantasy romantic series wrapping its entire run in 7 episodes. Oh my god, if the whole thing is done in 7 episodes, then whoa, that is way too quick. At least 4 seasons maybe to, okay, maybe 4 is a bit much than what Netflix wants if they're only doing 7 episodes to begin with, but dog, come on, 2 or 3 seasons at least. If they're planning on doing all of Solo Leveling in one 7-episode season, I don't know. Honestly, just seems like a lot. But I guess let me know what you guys think about all this. How do you feel about the Solo Leveling Ragnarok artist leaving? Do you think that they could keep it up with a new artist? How do you feel about changing artists midway through a project in general? Solo Leveling anime, you think that this update means we're going to be getting something regarding the movie this year? You think we're possibly going to be getting the movie this year? And what do you think about the Solo Leveling live action being only 7 episodes and heavy romance aspects of Jinwoo and Cha Ha-in? This could either be really great, or, well, I'm going to be positive about this because love Solo Leveling here. I'm gonna go with, yeah, this is gonna be at the very least an enjoyable experience. And regardless of what, shout outs to Solo Leveling. Moving forward, this right here is some great news for a couple different series because, well, when you enjoy a series and know, you're really into it, you want to see it succeed. And right here we got the top most read manga chapters on Manga Plus in 2025. These are the ones that people just gravitated towards the most. Well, technically we got 7 here, like, yeah. At number 7 we got Kaiju number 8, chapter 121. I'm not sure if that's the last chapter that they put out or not, but that did over 400,000 views. At number 6, Black Clover number 378, that's over half a mil, 549. Don the Don 182, over half a mil, 565. Chainsaw Man, which I'm not gonna lie, I do need to address Chainsaw Man at some given point, just because I made a comment a while back about Chainsaw Man, how I felt about it, and well, we'll get into that in another video. But that chapter did 800,000, craziness. One Piece, which One Piece been going on for ages, so it's unfair to judge it against anything but itself, but even still it came in at number 3, 822, with chapter 1161. Jeez, yo, One Piece has been going on a very, very long time. Like, some argue too long, some argue not long enough, but yeah. And then the top 2, which it's kind of crazy, right? Because for the most part, most people always be bashing like sequel series, spin-off series. They always say like it's not as good as the original, or you know, there's just a lot of hate that comes with it. And the top 2 most read are Boruto at number 2 with almost 900k, and that was chapter 21. And then at number 1 is Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo number 1 with, oh my gosh, 1.8 M's, which I say that this is a massive win for both of them. For starters, Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo is a mini sequel series. It's not meant to last that long based on what Gachiakuta had originally said, and coming off of the heels of the manga that has been, you know, absolutely huge as well, and of course people getting excited for the anime. And from what I've heard, because only read like first chapter or so, it's actually really good. So that is a major win for a sequel spin-off to actually be doing those type of numbers. But if that didn't come about, Boruto, which is already, you know what, 2 years deep with the Two Blue Vortex story, and again, one of the most hated on series, like people always got an issue for whatever reason with Boruto, that would have been number 1 if it wasn't for Jujutsu Kaisen having this mini special, you know, sequel series. So big ups to both of them. Although I do gotta say that, yo, at the end of the day, it's a massive win for Boruto, because recently did a poll over on my Twitter. If you don't follow me over there, definitely do so, where I asked like which one is the most hated on of like a few different series, and it was pretty much unanimous that people said Boruto is one of the most hated on series. So you got one of the most hated on. People always got something to say about Boruto, and yet it still succeeds. Even on manga sales wise, it's still a big seller, especially in comparison to the contemporaries of it. At this moment, it is still like a top 5 selling manga amongst Shonen Jump stuff. So say what you will about sequel spin-offs, but clearly people are into them, clearly people are supporting them, clearly people are reading them. Big ups to Boruto, big ups to Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo. Let me know if you want to see me do like a full-on review of Modulo when it's all over or something, because definitely very interested in it. And also, yeah, gotta do more Boruto stuff. But regardless of what, Boruto taking major wins, not to mention that the anime is being worked on from what we've heard, and seemingly the Naruto OVAs that's supposed to come out later this year, like, yo, this IP is gonna be going up in a major way, and it's still winning. So big ups to Boruto. Even the haters can't deny that it is doing its thing. Moving forward, Dragon Ball fans. Now this was something that I wanted to cover, because word circulating around can cause certain aspects and certain conflict between creatives, and sometimes it's good to get clarification, because this article had surfaced and I was kind of looking at it like, whoa, Toyotaro, what's going on here? Because apparently, based on what this article said, Torishima, which if you don't know, recently made a video talking about him being like, quote unquote, the biggest hater, obviously hyperbole, but you know, homie always has massive criticisms for Dragon Ball and massive criticisms for Toyotaro, the artist on Dragon Ball right now, the successor essentially to Akira Toriyama, the original creator of Dragon Ball, revealed in his latest video on Super Volume 24 that one of the main reasons he attended Jump Festa was to ask Toyotaro a favor directly. However, according to this, which this article again will explain it, Toyotaro declined, saying he's going to spend time drawing manga from now on and doesn't want his time taken up by anything else. So when a lot of people first read this, they were like, oh my gosh. First of all, they were kind kind of like, yo, that's kind of based from Toyotaro. Like, what the heck? Me using the word based? Huh? But regardless of what, it was just kind of like, whoa, like, yo, is there some real like tensions here? Like, at first you think it's just like, you know, Torishima, former editor, kind of having critiques, maybe Toyotaro and thinking nothing of it. Then you read this and you're like, yo, maybe Toyotaro got smoked for Torishima after all. However, Toyotaro cleared this up because somebody said, Toyotaro, did you refuse to meet Torishima-san? Who responded, that is misleading. In fact, we have met and spoke. However, there was a request made at that time that didn't go through due to scheduling conflicts, so it's nothing significant. So essentially, Toyotaro shut down any and all things between Torishima and Toyotaro. Seems as though it was just kind of like, yo, no, we actually met before, and yeah, it's all good, like, no worries. So sometimes it's better to actually, you know, have that communication and that dialogue and just be upfront to people, so that way, well, word circulating doesn't become a narrative when the truth is something totally different. In regards to like beef, so to speak, and problems, like clearly Toyotaro ain't really sweating much of Torishima's critiques. If anything, probably Toyotaro's looking at it like, yo, okay, how can I take any of this criticism and actually apply it to make my work better? That's what I'm imagining Toyotaro's thinking. And yeah, it seems as though everything is all good, but it's good to clarify this again because some people are gonna be thinking like, yo, they got beef, they got smoke. No beef, no smoke clearly between the two of them. It's probably more so the internet, you know, pulling stuff. Then something big that I wanted to address, because there has been this rumor that has been circulating for a few weeks now that apparently there could be a Dragon Ball Super anime remake in the works. And at first, all I heard was the rumor of that, and I thought like, yo, that is so ridiculous. Some of what seemingly is quote unquote the merit behind it is the fact that there was an image that had leaked out, or an image that had surfaced, shall I say, of some art that looked like the Dragon Ball Battle of Gods, you know, arc or whatnot, where the characters are holding hands to make Goku go Super Saiyan God, but it looks slightly different. And a lot of people were saying that this is actually, you know, art from this upcoming Dragon Ball Super remake, because they're gonna remake it all. And even more so, it added credence to it, because again, you could just see any art out there. When this was posted, apparently Shueisha had taken that thing down, which made people believe even more like, yo, this actually might be legit. And I'm gonna just come out here and straight up say it, that I think a remake of Dragon Ball Super's anime is 100% unnecessary. Like, if it's happening, then so be it. But personally, I think that like there's no reason to that. Like, we had the first two arcs alone started off as films. We had them as, you know, the TV anime remade them. We had Battle of Gods remade in the manga. Like, this has already been done before. Dragon Ball Super was an incredible success. I don't see it even reaching a 10th of the success if they remake those parts. Like, don't get me wrong, with today's animation techniques and whatnot, could it look better? Possibly, but at the end of the day, it didn't really look bad to begin with. Maybe you could argue that the story had some issues for sure, but regardless of what, a remake of that stuff just feels like unneeded. Just continue on adapting the stuff that needs to be adapted. If they want to remake the movies that haven't been remade yet, the Broly film and the superhero film, into TV anime and continue on with the manga stuff or whatnot, then so be it. But remaking everything like that would just be retreading stuff that is unnecessary. Like, a thought that personally I had was, well, maybe this is actually official art, but maybe it's that they're going to start off with a recap of events from Dragon Ball Super, and this is probably a shot from that. That could be the case, but regardless of what, whichever way it goes, just please don't remake Dragon Ball Super. It's unnecessary. It already exists. 131 episodes. Don't need it again. There's the Moro arc. There's the Granola arc. If you want to redo the Broly film, go for it, I guess. And if you want to redo the superhero film, go for it, I guess. I think if anything, that one would kind of be interesting, because remember, the superhero film was in 3D, a 2D animation version with real high quality. That would be beautiful to see, and I wouldn't be mad at it. But a remake of Super's anime? Nah. But that could just be me. I don't know. Let me know what you think about it. Moving forward, I got an update for Bleach fans. Obviously, over the Christmas break, the Bleach crew, the people that do the, you know, the anime or whatnot, had been resting or whatnot, but it seems as though Kubo and company are ready to get back to work, because according to this, the studio and Kubo have returned to work after the break. About 70% of the work has been completed, which is fantastic to hear. That means that they're getting close to, you know, wrapping things up. 30%, I mean, that still could be a decent chunk of work, but we got all the way until July, and even after the fact, depending on what episodes need to be animated. Like, they got a lot of time to finish this thing off, and it also shows just like what type of person Kubo is. Tite Kubo is not lazy at all. Like, sure, on the manga side of things, we would love more of the Bleach, you know, spin-off sequel that he had started with the one-shot or whatnot. Sure, we would love more of Burn the Witch that he started a while back and hasn't really put out much since. But that's mainly because he's been working on other endeavors and other projects. Once the Bleach Thousand Blood War anime wraps itself up, if there's nothing else in production for a bit on the anime side of things, he might go back to the manga world. It's the equivalent to, like, okay, you're working on one project or you have one job, and once that job finishes up, then you move on to another job or you go back to a previous job. Like, it's just how it is. So I'm glad to hear this update. And again, I just want to say that for anybody that thinks that maybe Tite Kubo is lazy, you're wrong, and maybe you should just take a closer look at what's really going on. Then we got this update a while back, but it was interesting to see it surface again that apparently a Bleach live action is reportedly in the works at Warner Brothers. A live action adaptation of Bleach is reportedly in development at Warner Brothers, according to a former employee of Viz Media. Fans' responses largely oppose the idea, citing failures like Dragon Ball Evolution and the 2018 Japanese Bleach film with mixed reception, although I think that film was actually pretty good. And yeah, to see this resurface, it's like, it's kind of old news. I don't know why people were sending this, but yeah, hopefully it's good. Like, I'm not gonna continue being pessimistic about these things, because if you be pessimistic, then yeah, for sure they're probably going to be bad. Like, I'm not gonna have my expectations through the roof neither and say that this is going to be the greatest film of all time, but it could be good. Maybe they should just learn from their mistakes from the previous one and you know, apply that forward, but only time will tell. Then this is something that I wanted to talk about regarding some comments that Mr. Beast recently made. Like, by no means am I gonna hate on Mr. Beast, like, not a hater over here by any stretch of the imagination, but Homie did say something recently that I thought was kind of a little bit because recently he had changed his profile pic on Twitter to a picture of Luffy, and he had seen like a couple episodes only before doing that, and a lot of people were accusing him of doing it just to hype up, you know, the One Piece live action that's coming or something, which I highly doubt him, you know, talking about One Piece or doing anything of the sort is just to hype up a live action. Like, so I get kind of being frustrated because anime fans sometimes could be a little overwhelming when they criticize you, but then he says some comments like,
is a negative for me to say this, but I've seen more anime than all you little anime clowns with your anime PFPs on Twitch.
Took it a certain way, because it seems like he's saying like, yo, watching a lot of anime is a bad thing. Like, bro, 2026 anime is accepted everywhere. Like, sometimes I feel like people still don't understand the magnitude of what anime kind of has always been, but has become especially now. Like, legitimately, that whole thing of like hiding you're an anime fan, like that whole idea of, you know, if you're an anime fan, only, you know, nerds are anime fans. That's like an antiquated ideology, because like, bro, there are like the most gangsters, dudes, killers, all sorts of stuff that'll watch some Dragon Ball, some Naruto, some Bleach, some One Piece, like businessmen, multi-millionaires that love and watch anime. Like, you never know who could be an anime fan. That's just how much anime has, you know, kind of gotten to the masses. So when people try to make comments like that or act like, yo, I shouldn't be saying this, like if it's a bad thing, like, bro, there's so many people that have watched anime that you would never in a trillion years expect are anime fans. They just kind of don't put it out there for whatever reason, which I will even throw the argument that at some given point that probably might change too, because there's no reason to hide it. Like, there's artists that are massively mega popular that kind of, you know, embrace anime, put up pictures of them cosplaying all types of characters. Like, anime is nothing to be ashamed about, bro. There's people that, like, I mean, even content creators, for example, like, have made, you know, millions off of talking about anime and stuff like that. Like, it's just that real. So yeah, Mr. Beast's comment right there was a little bit and then he ended it off with adding in like the 6'7" meme, which I was kind of like, but I guess he also said that back in the day he watched like a ton of anime or something like that. So kudos to dude, but I'm never gonna be okay with people disparaging anime in any sort of fashion, because it's like, bruh, millions, possibly billions of people watch anime. It just is what it is. Moving forward, now this right here is rumor pile, but it's also extremely of interest to me because, well, personally, love crossovers. I love when you get to see characters from different series crossover, whether it be an anime form or video game form, because apparently CyberConnect 2, the people behind the Naruto Storm games and the DBZ Kakarot games and the Demon Slayer Hinokami Chronicle games, will be announcing their next game February 16th, 2026, and fans are speculating about an announcement of either a Jujutsu Kaisen game or a new Jump Force game. And don't get me wrong, Jujutsu Kaisen is fire, and if that's the game that they're going with. I can only imagine how epic it's going to be. Kakarot, that was just such a freaking good game, bro. Kakarot, I ain't gonna lie, I had so much fun playing Kakarot. And of course, you know, you check the history, Naruto Storm, yeah, I was that dude. But with that being said, Jump Force, right? Because I know Jump Force got a lot of hate back in the days, but Jump Force-esque type of game, meaning a crossover game, maybe more closer to like a J-Stars Victory Versus, or even if they do a Jump Force type of game in the style of Dragon Ball Fighters, that would be, oh my gosh, if they do something like that, that's a game that will last for the next 15 years, just being honest. Because again, similar to what I thought they were going to do with Jump Force, except that, you know, after its, you know, release, it had a lot of bad press or whatnot. That was a game that I thought could have had, and this is, if they decide to do a big Jump crossover game, could be continued with DLC for the future. And I'm not talking about current characters, because please, if they go this route, put as many of the characters that we love as possible within the game. But going forward, there could be like massive opportunities for DLC of characters after they, you know, appear and get popular in Shonen Jump. So say for example, it starts off right now, today, some of the newbies that are in the magazine right now that people are really hype about, like, you know, the Kagurabachi series or the Ichi the Witch stuff, those series actually, when they get animated, can be DLC'd into the game. And in general, you make a high quality as far as gameplay wise game with all of these characters, and especially if you make a great story, people will buy it just for the story alone. But if you make it a game where the actual gameplay is great, yeah, this is a game that will sell like 1 trillion copies. Like Jump Force sold like 1 million first day, first week or something like that, based off of the hype alone. It would have gotten carried, but again, people were not satisfied with the gameplay of it. Something of this magnitude with either, again, like a fighters type of thing, going back to like more of J-Stars Victory Versus, this could be just the greatest game of all time for an anime fan. But we gotta wait and see. Let me know, I guess, in the comment section below. Would you rather a crossover Shonen Jump game, and what style would you like it in? Or would you prefer them to do like a brand new Jujutsu Kaisen game? Because there was a Jujutsu Kaisen game, and that one was, well, it could have been better, I'll just say that. No hate. Moving forward, I wanted to give props to MichaelBJordan for this. I'm not even gonna lie, like, sometimes MichaelBJordan, I feel like he does better coverage and does better to promote stuff than some of these companies actually do, because he recently spoke up about My Hero Academia, and one of the things that I thought was dope is the fact that people that aren't into anime, you hear about MichaelBJordan, you know, this popular star, this popular actor that actually rocks with anime, and the way he passionately talked about it in this one, I was like, yeah, this is how you do it. Because homie said My Hero Academia was the last time he cried watching a TV show. It's like the last season of the series. It was an episode where Bakugo had this emotional moment where he finally got recognized by one of his mentors and idols that he always felt overlooked him throughout the entire show, and they did it in such a dramatic way and in an epic fashion. And I couldn't agree more. That moment where, you know, he was waiting for so long, not on no notice me senpai type of deal, but just in general, like, yo dog, where's that recognition? And when it finally happened, when All Might was like, yo, you're awesome as well, yeah, I'd imagine anybody would get emotional having somebody that they really rock with actually, you know, pay attention and give them their props, so to speak. So shout out to MichaelBJordan for that. Like, homie, whenever he does, you know, come in and talk about anime, he really does a good job of it, and he promotes it very well. Moving forward, I wanted to cover this one because, well, I think the artist Kei Urana is truly, in my opinion, one of the closest, at the very least image-wise, things that we have to a kind of female Tite Kubo. At the very least, as far as the drip goes, that's all I'm really speaking on. Like, the drip is kind of legit. I'm meaning, like, you know, the fashion, the hair and stuff like that. That's it. And also Gachiakuta, from what I've seen, is pretty good. But there's been something that's been going on recently on Twitter that I thought was noteworthy of addressing as well. And Kei Urana, the, you know, artist and, you know, the creator of Gachiakuta, recently took a stance regarding Twitter, because the artist of Dr. Stone took a similar stance. Gachiakuta creator Kei Urana follows suit with Boichi, again artist of Dr. Stone, over concerns with new XAI image editing feature. Twitter seems to be going downhill, so from now on I'll mainly post my art on Instagram. And if you don't know, there's a lot of things that's been going on with Twitter. Like, Twitter is a great promotional tool, and Twitter is a really awesome thing to just kind of have like dialogue, conversations, as far as like, yo, you got an interesting thought about stuff. Like, I'm not gonna bash on Twitter because, yo, I've always kind of been in one way or another, at the very least here and there on Twitter. But some of their updates recently, as far as like the things that you have to agree to, has been kind of crazy. The fact that they can use your art to train their AI robot stuff, there's no way essentially to go around it. They can use your stuff and create using your thing and eventually not need you. That's kind of like, wow. And we're not even going to get into the whole argument of AI because everybody in some form or another is using AI, even if you know it or not. But I will say when it comes to stuff like that, I don't blame her for going and saying, yo, I'm going to just start posting my art either on Instagram or other platforms, whatever or whatnot, and keep it just straight up just like, you know, talking and text on Twitter. And I think also Gachiakuta recently got a season 2. I wanted to throw that in there because, yeah, I think the series is actually interesting at the very least. And again, massive support for Kei Urana. In my opinion, very wholesome and loving update regarding the artist, the late artist, XxXTentacion. In case you don't know, first of all, always had a fondness for the music. I think he had some incredible music. We're not going to talk about his personal life because, yeah, that's just not where we're going to go with it. But something that I always found to be fascinating and kind of just awesome in general, because again, that was an artist that I really appreciated their art, was the fact that he was also an anime and manga fan. And apparently, XxXTentacion's My Anime list includes Naruto, Fairy Tail, Attack on Titan, and Bleach on finished shows with high ratings. So at some given point, homie was just really indulging in some incredible entertainment. Still hoping one day we get that XxXTentacion anime that I think was like rumored. And he was watching One Piece that included in there. And if you don't know what My Anime list, essentially it's a website where you could catalog all the anime and manga and things of that nature that you basically watch and read and stuff like that. It's a great way to keep track of it if you actually watch and read a decent amount of stuff, or in general, even if you only read and watch a few things, you can know, hey, oh, this is where I left off at. It's pretty cool. And then last but not least, shout out to video games. I'm sure everybody at one point or another has visited, or at the very least you know about GameStop, right? It's a classic. Well, apparently there's an update that says GameStop is currently executing a new wave of store closures in January as part of a multi-year store portfolio optimization review to combat declining sales and a massive industry shift towards digital downloads. Following the closure of nearly 600 US locations in 2024, the company confirmed in 2025 December filings that it would shutter a significant amount of additional stores before the fiscal year ends of January 31st, 2026. And from what it says right here, National Impact, GameStop has not released an official master list. Unofficial trackers and local reports indicate more than 200 locations across the US are closing or set to close this month. Significant closures have been reported in states including Alabama, California, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Texas. And I'm gonna just keep it all the way real. When it comes to GameStop, like, yeah, there's probably been like, I don't know, maybe like one, you know, worker that was like really cool and stuff like that from there. But for the most part, that's also a case-by-case scenario. And in general, I guess it's a heads up for people that, you know, whether you rock with GameStop or not, that, yeah, they're probably going to be closing down. So some of those workers probably should, you know, start finding other avenues if you haven't already. And in general, that might be the end of an era for, at the very least, the GameStop stores, which is crazy to say because, you know, there's so many memories in GameStop. Like, I remember I met some of my fans at GameStop at one given point, and that was one heck of an experience to say the least. But yeah, it seems as though GameStop is closing more locations, and it's about to get crazy because the digital era is continuing to rise. But that's all I have for this one. I'm Tim. As always, people, have an awesome day. Peace in.
One time for the warriors, they gonna write about us one day. It'll be a story from one time for the